So this is about to be the easiest fucking breakdown I could possibly do for this strategy. The easiest breakdown, bro. So if I didn't know shit about trading, I had to explain this, and somebody was explaining this to me. This is how I would want it to be explained, right? Okay. First off, you're gonna go to the daily. You're gonna go to the daily chart. We know this is the daily because I clicked the daily, and then it says 1D right here. It stands for 1 day. It's the weekly, daily, 4 hour, 1 hour, 30 minute, 15 minute, 5 minute. You can click this and you got a whole bunch of other time intervals. Not gonna fuck with them. We don't care about them, right? Okay. First, what we want this shit to do, we want the daily to have a strong push, either to the downside or to the upside. Does not matter what the fuck, which way, downside, upside, doesn't matter. Just we need a push, right? So let's wait for the push. Right there. There is a fucking push, right? Matter of fact, let's take this off real quick. So, matter of fact, no, we're gonna do it all the way over because I want y'all to really understand this shit. I shouldn't even have that on there. Okay, so we're looking for a push, right? We go to the chart, we're looking for a daily push. That's a daily push, right? Okay. Once you get a push on the daily chart, now you can kind of go like, hey, okay, so price is starting to show me what it's about to do over the next 2, 3, 4 days, maybe, because it's giving me a lot of bullish pressure, a lot of bullish momentum. I there's going to be other confluences that we're going to use later to confirm that this is the bias that we want to go with. But as of right now, price just broke out to the upside, so we are going to go bullish as of right now. This is all we know. Looking at the daily chart, we don't know shit else. No other analysis on no other time frames, nothing else. Just looking at this, right? Price broke up. Cool. Second off, you see this EMA. This is a 50 EMA, right? Another thing you want when price breaks out, whether it's to the downside or to the upside, you want the EMA to kind of be fanned out. And the EMA is only fanned out if you have a big push, like right here. This is a big push. You want this kind of big gap. You want it to be like fanned out. You don't want it to be close and riding on price. You want it to push and be fanned out, so it has to pull back, and then it's gonna probably, it's gonna push down, pull back, and because it was so fanned out, it's gonna continue to respect it for a while. So price pushed up. Clearly, this EMA is gonna go like this. It's gonna be fanned out, right? Okay. Next, what we want to do is find an area of interest, or you want to find a supply or a support and resistance zone. I call it support and resistance because I want it to be a support and resistance at some point. So you can see right here, there was a resistance once, twice, 3 times. It was a resistance. You go here, it was a support. So in the past, it was both support and resistance. That lets me know when price pulls back to this zone, which is going to turn this old resistance to new support. I can kind of have more faith in it because I've seen that there's been multiple times where price broke the support zone and turned it into resistance, or broke a support zone, turned it to resistance. Or, I mean, y'all get the point. Break the resistance zone, turn it to support. That's what I'm assuming is about to happen, right? Because at other points in history or in the past, it did the same thing. It respected it, broke, and it respected it from the other side. Did it again right here, respected it, it broke underneath, then it started respecting from the other side. If price did not have a resistance, you would be just assuming that price will pull back and turn and then just create a magical support. No, we don't want that. We want price to have been support at some other time, right? You have resistance, could possibly turn into support, but let's go back in time and see if it was a support at some other time, right? Because if it was, I now have absolute evidence and absolute proof that this is a support zone. It's a valid and proven support zone. How do I know? Because right when you go over here, it was a support zone before. So now I'm not just assuming anything. So they say support becomes resistance and resistance becomes support. Resistance becomes support, right? So once it pulls back to this zone, I'm assuming that it's going to turn this resistance into support right here. Why? Because it's already done it in the past. It's already showed me evidence that it's done it. So what are we going to do? We're going to go down to the 4 hour and make sure the 4 hour matches the daily. You see the daily had a beautiful push, big sharp blue candles, beautiful blue candles, sharp push to the upside. Clearly it's in a bullish trend. Let's go down to the 4 hour. Same exact fucking thing. Above the EMA, fanned out EMA, nice big blue candles. And all I'm waiting for is a pullback to the daily support and resistance zone. When you go to the weekly, I'm not going to go to the weekly yet because the weekly on TradingView is glitchy, so it'll show the end result of the trade. So just know that we are catching the wick of the weekly candle, right? Okay, so pull back. Now it just pulled back to the daily support and resistance zone, and I call it support and resistance zone because it was support and resistance at some point. It was both, not just one. Now when price pulls back to the daily support and resistance zone, what we want to do is we want to go to the 1 hour, right? When the daily has pulled back to a daily support and resistance zone, you then want to go down to the hour, but it has to be at the support and resistance zone. You're going to mark it up. Once price pulls back to it, you're going to have an alert right here. So once it hits it, the alert will go off, and then you'll go to the chart. You'll see that the daily has pulled back. Then you'll go to the 1 hour. Hold up 1 second. All right, so you'll go down to the 1 hour and you'll wait for a shift of structure. So right now it's making lower lows and lower highs, so we're not doing anything. We need to wait for it to flip back to start making higher highs and higher lows. Once it starts making higher highs and higher lows, that's when we will get into the trade. I need a definitive pullback and a definitive shift of structure. I need a clear shift of structure. And then if you see right here, this is not even good trading hours. This is noon right here. So all of this time is like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's not even trading time. So you're not even looking at price action at any of this time. None of those, any of this is not trading time. So you're not even looking at it. So around here, I would get back on the charts, right? Wait for it to pull back. We're still waiting for a shift of structure. And at this point right here, this could be a shift of structure once it broke. Once it broke that part or that point, it could be a shift of structure, but I like that one. That's a more clean or a cleaner elbow. And then once price breaks this zone, it'll be breaking above the EMA also. So it'd be putting price above the EMA. So I like that zone more. So we'll wait for price to break this because it's shifting structure. Right now it's making lower lows and lower highs. I need for it to start making higher highs and higher lows. So once it breaks this purple line, I know that it's now starting the beginning to make higher highs and higher lows. So right there, right? That's not it though. Yes, it broke structure. Let me stretch this real quick. Yes, it did break structure. And it did create a new high. But one thing I do is something called the shoestring theory. Price broke this high, but it needs to basically make the knot. And it didn't make the knot. I will show you once it made the knot or once it locked in the new market structure or the new shift of structure, right? So yes, it shifted the structure, but it didn't lock in the shift. After you get a big bullish candle like that, what you would do, you would wait for a pullback, which it's doing right now. Yep. And then you will wait for a lock. So a lock now, it basically tied and looped. Now you're knotting it up. It's hard to explain it. This would basically be like, I'm saying, the shoestring theory. You switch over both the shoestrings, you put the loop in it, and then you knot it up, right? This is securing the knot. This is securing everything. So once I wait for another bullish candle, right? I waited for the shift of structure, the pullback, and then the confirmation. The confirmation is basically the knot, which would be, that's why we didn't get in anywhere right here. I need strong bullish candles, and we would get in like right here. This is where we would get in, because now you had the high, right? The lower high was right there. Price right here broke this lower high, creating a new higher high, and then this would have been a new higher low. But just because it broke this lower high does not mean that price has completely shifted. You need it to pull back and then give you confirmation that it has shifted. And these two blue candles right here are confirmation. So what you would do, go ahead. You could either put it, the stop loss right here. You can put the stop loss right here, or you can give it a super tight stop loss right here. What I would do, I would give it right here a little breathing room, because I know once it breaks this elbow and that elbow, most likely it's going to go continue all the way down to the downside. Some people will put it right here, and which is not a bad stop loss, because you know if price breaks this level, that shit is out of there. It's not going your way. It's done. But also you could say at this point too, at this elbow also, if price breaks this wick, it's going to continue to tank down. So go ahead and keep that, and then I'll go for a 1 to 2. And then right there, it just took off and hit the TP, or hit the take profit. But like I said, one of the biggest things about this specific strategy is the shift of structure, and not even the shift, just the shift of structure. Like I said, this was a lower high, this is a lower low. Price right here with this big bullish engulfing candle, it broke this lower high, creating a new higher high right here. So it did shift structure. It shifted structure on this blue engulfing candle, but that's not confirmation for me to get in. So it's basically like, yeah, it's starting to tie the shoestring, but I needed to pull back and then create the knot right here. That pullback and then the strong bullish momentum, that bullish momentum right here is the knot. These are this, you know what I'm saying? This is the beginning of the shoestring knot, right? These are just like the looping areas and everything, but this is when you tighten the loop right here. This is when you tighten the, what they call them, the bunny ears. This is when you tighten the shoestring loop. So yeah, price broke this lower high, created a new higher high. This would have been the higher low. This is the higher high. Shift of structure happened, but I needed to pull back and then confirm, right? Pull back and then confirm. Right here in this yellow, that's the confirmation, right? This is the shift of structure, the pullback, and then the confirmation that price is going to shoot to the upside. And then that's exactly what it did.